10 changes that were made after Vanilla WoW that made WoW better. I should watch this video just to trigger you guys, because I know people are going to get mad about it, right? Because they're like, oh no, that's not true. Everything about Vanilla WoW is perfect and nothing needs ever to change. But it is kind of weird. Here's one thing that I think about, is that everything in Vanilla WoW just randomly came together. And it was like perfect. And I genuinely think that it was probably an accident. Like, because it was so genius. Like, the entire game was so fucking genius that I can't believe that anyone except for Jesus could come up with this game, right? And, like, all of the different ways. Like, I don't know how it could be so perfect. Does that make sense? Miss Pandaria is what ruined WoW. My dad said, it seems like whenever the pandas came out, things started to go downhill. That's specifically what he told me. So yeah, you're not wrong.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another episode in the Azeroth Arsenal. This is a series where we take a look at some of the more interesting weapons and armor in the game's history.
Okay.
This one is a little different because the focus is on armor as opposed to the previous episodes, which were mainly weapons. In vanilla World of Warcraft, before raiding, you had the Tier 0 dungeon set. This is the blue armor set for each class, and the pieces were scattered across many different dungeons in the game. It was the set to get pre-raids, and they were highly sought after.
I never completed
my Valor set. It was the Wild Heart, for Hunters, the Beast Stalker, Mage the Magister set, Paladins the Lightforge armor, the Priest set was called Devout, Rogues had Shadowcraft, the Shaman had the Elements, Warlock the Dreadmist, and Warriors the Valor set.
Yep.
At first, it was quite rare to see someone with the full set, and it was almost a status symbol. Before people started raiding, even blue items were impressive, so it was like, whoa, this guy knows his stuff.
Yo, imagine getting impressed over a blue nowadays.
With the looks and the set bonus made them quite special.
I'll look at it at some point, right?
These sets would of course be later replaced by the superior Tier 1 set found in the Molten Core raid.
Of course.
And then that would be replaced by Tier 2, and so on.
Oh, dude, there it is.
But lost within the shuffle was something called the Tier 0.5 set, or the Dungeon Set 2 as it's called. This was sneaked in patch 1.10 in March of 2006.
Oh, that's where they added
the weather effects. At this point, the Temple of Ankh-Kiraj raid was already in the game, and that held tier 2.5, so raiders really had no interest in this revamped dungeon set. It was more aimed towards those who just stuck with 5-mans as their endgame, of which there were plenty because raiding back then was so time-consuming.
I don't think it was that hard, was it?
These sets were slightly better and modified versions of their originals.
Thank you.
The Wild Heart upgraded to Feral Heart, Beast Stalker to Beast Master, Magisters to Sorcerers, Lightforge to Soulforge, Devout to Virtuous, Shadowcraft to Dark Mantle, Elements to the Five Thunders, Dreadmist to Deathmist, and Valor to Heroism. In looks, they were just different color palettes for the most part,
they were better.
But in stats and rarity, they were superior to their blue counterparts. The quest chain that awarded them was the same for each class, but it was very long and expensive, and as a result, not a lot of people completed it, and in fact, if you mention these Tier 0.5 sets to people today, most of them will have no clue what you're talking about.
I remember, like, whenever I saw how long it would take for me to get my Tier 0.5 set, I was like, fuck it. I guess I'll just farm Grand Marshal instead. Like, I didn't want to waste my time. I thought it was a fucking waste of I thought it was just a complete waste of time. Like, why do I want to spend all day doing this piece of shit and getting this bad gear that's not even better than stuff in MC for me to do this? And I just got the MC, I just worked on the Grand Marshal gear instead. Thank you for finding out the new beta opt-in. Refresh my app. I was logged in. I saw the classic beta service offline. You're a beast. Keep on streaming, man. See you in game. The rule after, thank you very much to $20. I appreciate that, man. Let's go ahead and, it's a bug. You didn't actually get in. I really hope that's not the case. Just get rank 13. I got up to Knight Lieutenant, and then the 2.0 patch came out. Then I got the rest of my GM gear. Unfortunately, I didn't really grind enough. I just started too late into the game, and I didn't get enough time to do it.
So, I thought I'd cover the chain in its entirety and tell you about something that I think is a mystery to a lot of people.
Okay.
Mainly for entertainment, but who knows? If you decide to play the classic servers, maybe you can even use it as a guide.
Arsenal with the 5 gifted community subs. Thank you very much,
The main goal of it is to collect 3 fragments of an amulet and to break an ancient curse. This video will be from an Alliance perspective, but the chain is pretty much mirrored for the Horde. I'll list any minor differences in text, but other than that, the main differences are the turn-in NPCs.
Okay.
So, for the Alliance, it all started from the NPC Deliana, located just outside the throne room in Ironforge.
It was expensive,
and Makvar, the treasurer for the Horde, who you could find in Thrall's throne room in
Fuck
Orgrimmar.
that, 100%.
They tell you that they have in their possession a powerful set of armor worn by your class, and they're willing to give it to you for a favor. So, because this chain upgrades your tier 0 to 0.5, you of course had to already own all of your tier 0 set, which consisted of 8 pieces.
What a waste
of
fucking time.
The belt, boots, gloves, pants, shoulders, chest, and head.
Easy.
Going with the Alliance chain, the first step is to upgrade the bracers. Deliana sends you to the Winter Spring Zone, located all the way on the other continent. Remember, this is vanilla, and the trap.
That's a real quest right there. You start in the town, you go to the other fucking continent. That's like a quest for Christopher Columbus. You think about that. It's the same damn thing. Actually, that's a really good way to look at it. So you feel like Christopher Columbus doing quests in vanilla WoW. Because you're going over to different continents, you have no fucking idea what's going on, and then you kill the people that are living there. And now the quests are just participation rewards. It's like track and field in 3rd grade. The only good thing about it is you don't actually have to do any work that day.
Traveling for these quests was legendary, and it was all on the ground, so there was a lot of walking.
Goddamn right there was.
You needed to get 15 blood samples from the wildlife here, and if you brought the blood back and give her 20 gold and your bracers, you get the upgraded bracers for the dungeon set too. Just 7 more to go.
I never did this
At this point, with this 20 gold investment,
I
do want to emphasize just how expensive it was to finish this whole chain. And it's the main reason why a lot of people skipped it.
What a waste of fucking
This 20
money.
gold is just the beginning.
Oh my god.
And if you take into account that you're losing your original enchants, this chain is pretty pricey to finish. But with this, part 1 is done, and we have the bracers.
Fucking right.
For the next part, you need to talk to a dead person's ghost. And to do that, you need to visit a master engineer that specializes in the supernatural. You're sent to Muck's Manuscript.
300 IQ idea for Blizzard. Next patch. Bring this quest line back. And just upgrade all the gear to level 120. Just upgrade all the gear. Like, I don't know why they don't do shit like this. Bring the entire quest line back, upgrade all the gear, make classic time walking weak, and have people be able to go back and get this gear. I would fucking love to see that. And I really wish that, like, Blizzard, like, those kinds of ideas, if they did a classic time walking, I would fucking love that. I don't know how they could make it good enough to meet people's expectations, though. That's the issue. Maybe they could do it like once a year. That's the only way I could think it working. I think it would work. And have Nax 40 out for the week. I still think that's a good idea, man. I don't care if everybody disagrees with me. I think it'd be fucking badass. Like, imagine that week, dude. Everybody would be on. Everybody would be playing. Holy shit. Everybody would be ready. People would be leveling up alts all year round just to do that one fucking week. And it would feel great.
Scrambler and Gadgetsan. And being a goblin, he of course wants money out of you.
And they'd allow Masterwood in there,
to progress to the next part,
to make it a little bit more exciting.
You need to give him 40 gold, which at this point was a lot back then.
Yep.
Most people had maybe 100-ish in their pockets. Everyone was broke. But that wasn't all. You also needed a bunch of trade materials, which also cost gold. And this is where most people said, you know, screw this. This is out of my price range, so I'll just stick with the old tier set. So, the total shopping list here was a delicate Arcanite converter, which was made by engineers, 4 greater eternal essences, which enchanters got from disenchanting high-level greens, 10 stone scale oil, which were made by alchemists, and 25 volcanic ash, which you had to get by yourself. You got this in the burning step zone on the ground, typically near lava pools, so it didn't cost anything.
Didn't you need blood
but it was a lot of travel, and 25 made it pretty time consuming.
I forgot.
And in terms of travel, we're just getting started.
Nowadays.
Mux builds you a ghost trap, and for the next part, you need to use... And in terms of travel...
Quick trivia. Who's that a statue of, guys? Who's that a statue of? Lothar. Good. Good.
Just getting started. Mux builds you a ghost trap, and for the next part, you need to use this trap and collect ectoplasm from all across the world. To use this trap, you needed something called Goblin Rocket Fuel, and you're given 8 to start off, but if you used all of them before you collected all 36 essences, you had to buy more from an engineer.
Yep. Yeah, this is
you
Ghostbusters,
need 12 scorched ectoplasms from enemies in Silithus, 12 frozens from enemies in Winterspring, and 12 stables from enemies in the Eastern Plaguelands.
Okay.
Did I say that the traveling in vanilla was ridiculous yet? Anyways, you bring all of...
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't really, like, because you just go AFK. Like, you're AFK for like half the game. It's kind of like... You know what I mean? Like, alright, here's a good way for me to look at it. You know whenever you're like 12, 13, and you just discover how great titties are, and anytime your mom literally goes down to the corner store, you're on the computer in like fucking record time, looking up porn, like jacking off like so fucking fast, right? She goes to the grocery store. This is the best day of your life, all right? And you get to sit there on the computer for like a whole hour, right? But by the time that you're like, you know, maybe like 24, 25, and you've already got your own place, you've got your own room, and you can just look at porn all day long if you want, it loses a little bit of its excitement to a certain extent because you're just doing it all the time. And it's kind of like Vanilla WoW. Vanilla WoW is blue-balling you because there are so many periods where like you're just fucking not doing anything, so you're just waiting for that one moment where you actually get to play your character. And in BFA, you're just always playing your character. So it's just like, okay, all right, let's go. Let's keep going. And I really think, like, I mean, like, this is a 200 IQ. Again, this is what I was talking about before, how Blizzard, it's like some kind of, like, just a fucking, a mastermind mistake that they've made with Vanilla WoW. I think that the genius of Vanilla WoW is that half of it wasn't even intentional. And even the devs said that. Kevin Jordan said, it's like, was this planned? Like, no. It just happened. I don't know. Like, I think that's just, it's the genius of unintended consequences. It's really fucking cool. Truly extraordinary, just like Smash Melee. Exactly. Just like Smash Melee.
The Skoo and the trap back to Mux and Tannerus, and he sends you back to the Burning Steps to get the Magma Core from an Earth Elemental located inside the zone. Okay. Hey, why didn't you tell me to do this while I was getting the ash earlier? What an ashhole. So, you return the core, and you just need one more part.
Holy shit!
It's a Fel Elemental Rod, but the only problem is that you have to buy it from an imp merchant named Veal, and he's located in an elite-infested area
probably gonna need to
in
go
the southern
here to go over to
Winterspring zone, all the way north.
Ashhole is a funny guy.
Luckily, though, he isn't super deep into the area, and he's in the first cave you see on the right-hand side. The rod also costs 40 gold, so it's pretty pricey.
Yep, 40 fucking gold.
So you buy the rod,
imagine wasting all your money for that.
And he finishes the device and tells you to return it to Deliana in Ironforge if you're Alliance, or Makvar in Orgrimmar if you're Horde.
Of course.
As a reward for getting this far, for the next quest, you're asked to turn in your belt and gloves for the upgrade. And as a bonus, the gloves are actually an upgrade in rarity, your first purple piece of the set. But you're not satisfied with just 3 pieces. So you ask for the next task, and you're sent to the entrance of the Strathholm dungeon along with the ghost device. You're told to use this device near the entrance, and doing so will reveal the ghost of Antheon Harmon. From him, you need to obtain some information about a special amulet. He agrees to help you, but in return, you must do him a favor. You need to go inside the Strathholm dungeon and rescue someone called Ysida Harmon from the final boss of the undead side, Baron Rivendare.
I don't remember this at all.
So, this is our first official group quest in the chain.
I still don't remember.
There's just one catch though. When you enter the dungeon, a 45-minute timer starts.
Wait, this is what the 45-minute timer was for?
At the end of it. Not only do you need to click through the dungeon,
after the
but you also had to do it pretty quickly and carefully so you don't wipe. But if you're successful, Ysida gave you her locket, which you returned to Antheon.
Okay.
You ask him information about a Draconid named Valthalak and a special medallion that he held.
Okay.
And he tells you that the medallion had Valthalak's soul stored inside, and that he took it and divided it amongst his friends.
God damn.
But upon doing so, they unleashed a curse upon themselves that's still active, even in death.
That's actually so
fucking
cool.
He says that he gave the first piece to a dwarf named Theldrin, who's a gladiator for the Dark Iron Dwarves.
Okay.
So, you need to fight him and get the medallion back.
This is what
but to do so, you need a bunch of materials.
Fuck yeah.
You need 3 dark iron bars, which were made by miners, 20 enchanted leathers from enchanters, 3 mooncloth from tailors, and 4 cured rugged hides from leatherworkers. All pretty pricey trade goods, so the investment was really starting to pile up at this point.
Yep.
And what did you need all of this stuff for? A banner, of course.
It's incomplete.
Hey, you can't just fight the guy. You need this special banner.
You gotta get him mad
first. It's not even finished yet. You need to take this incomplete banner to an NPC named Valorant Treeshaper, located in the library of the Dire Maul dungeon, so, again, a group is needed to clear to this NPC.
Oh, Dire Maul!
And, to follow along with the scheme of things, before he'll help you, you need to do him a favor.
Oh, come on.
He asks you to kill ogres inside of Dire Maul, and to bring him their war beads as proof, 25 of them total.
Wow.
And for this, you at least get an amulet as a reward, which is a nice little bonus. Upon completing this, Valorant will enchant the banner that'll somehow provoke Theldrin, but to...
My mom actually completed a lot of this quest back in Vanilla WoW, I'm pretty sure. Because she was never going to raid, and she never really did PvP. So she just completed this quest, just like all she did.
Do that, he needs more materials first. You need 4 dark runes, which are drops from enemies in the Skolamance dungeon. So for these, you either got a group, or you bought them off of the auction house since they weren't soulbound. You also needed 8 large brilliant shards, which enchanters got from disenchanting high-level blue items, and a quest item called the Jeering Spectre Essence, which dropped from ghosts located inside the Dire Maul dungeon.
Of course.
So, lots of help required.
Of course.
This is a pretty elaborate way of challenging someone to a fight, don't you think? Anyways, you take this special banner to the arena located inside the Blackrock Depths instance to summon the secret Theldrin boss and his posse. And your goal, of course, is to take him down. He dropped some loot, some of which is unique in transmog, so to this day, people are looking for others with the banner still to get some rare transmogs.
I got that bow myself.
And he also dropped the first fragment of the amulet.
Service incompatible. We're waiting.
You returned this to Antheon, and he tells you that the only way to stop the curse is to put the amulet back together, so you need 2 more fragments.
Okay.
This is about the halfway point of the chain. Hey, I told you this was a long one. Not to tease you here, but I think for the sake of not making this video too long, we'll come back to this in part 2, so dude. I'll see you then.
To be continued.
Farewell for now, mortals. We hope you enjoyed today's video.
This shit would just take so goddamn long, man. Like, I really, I don't know, restart the client? Okay, let me restart client, and we'll see what happens, okay? I'll see if the servers are going to come up. Yeah, obviously, like, those chains were really, really long. Very, very time investment. It still says incompatible, unfortunately. Reminds me of Dragon Slayer from RuneScape. Yeah, I know in RuneScape there's a ton of, like, really big quests, too. And so I think this is, like, one thing that WoW used to have a lot of, and nowadays they don't really have that much of, which is unfortunate. Random quest chain in Vanilla has better lore than BFA. Well, I mean, this was a main quest chain I guess, like, in Vanilla WoW. It was a big quest chain. But the point is, yeah, I do think they did a better job with the lore. And I think one of the reasons they did it is they wrote it with, like, more of, like, a, I don't know, it just seemed like it was more raw. And I think like if I had to describe like everything about it and like why I thought it was better, it would be kind of complex. But one of the reasons that I like it more is the fact that the player is not necessarily an actor in the story itself. They're more of like a secondary character that just moves the plot forward, which is actually what I prefer. And I don't like how the game narrative takes the player into consideration nowadays. I'm just not a fan of it. That's like an RP thing, okay? Like, so, okay, this is like, all right, get on your robe and wizard hat and let's all listen to Asmongold talk about, his character's narrative. But I just feel like it's important. And whenever there's a certain level of escapism, there's a spectrum of escapism that people have in video games. And I think that whenever you put the character in the storyline, unless that escapism matches with the storyline that you have in your head, then it's just completely, they run counter to each other. And I don't like that at all. Okay, homeless wizard, it's not like you're part of the world. Well, I don't think that the player should be considered as part of the world, except for just like a nameless adventurer or something like that, right? It's just like actors inside the game. Is the alpha server? Yeah, I don't know. It's just the way I feel, right? Where are you on the spectrum? So I am on the spectrum for this, and I would say that, like, there are people that do like hard RP and then soft RP. I think that in a lot of ways I kind of do soft RP in some ways where I kind of act a little bit different whenever I'm playing the game than I would in real life, right? But I'm not taking on the role as like, oh, I'm Asmongold that comes from Hillsbrad Foothills or something like that, or Winterspring. It's just like it's a middle ground. That's the point that I'm trying to make.